All right, it's 10 a.m. Central Eastern or Central European time. Which one is it? CST. Welcome everybody. Let's get started, and it's going to be recorded anyway, so whoever is late, they can catch it later. I hope you can share this. You can see the screen. So today, HYCU and know-how and how-to with HYCU. I challenge you to say that 5 times really fast. But the essence is we really want to give you again a technical session similar to what we had previously with coffees with Marco and M&M's, now a sequel where we're going to discuss today on Protégé. So a couple of rules. It's being recorded, so you can check it out later as well. Same as with usually with our coffees with Marco, please feel free to unmute, open your cameras, chat, whatever, in the middle of the session, right? So you can actually, I'll try to respond as soon as I see a new question popping in. And there is a HYCU swag box, which is going to be awarded to one lucky winner. So use your real name and surname, otherwise we don't know who to give it to. And we'll pull it out of hat at the end of the session. All right, so let's get started. So who are we? Who is HYCU? What do we do, right? So we, if you don't know yet, right, we've been actually doing backup for more than 25 years. And, it's been a passion of ours, and it still is, very much so. And our main goal is to bring simplicity to data protection, really. Something we are adamant on doing. And how to do it is, well, utilizing this huge experience and know-how we've accumulated. Our engineering is the power of this company, really, that we accumulated over the 25 years. We want to utilize all of this to build now, again, a new simple solution for this multi-cloud world, right? We've partnered with a lot of companies, Nutanix, Google, Azure, as part of this. And one of the things we are most proud of is our NPS score, because we really focus on the customers. Our main mission is not to calculate NPS just for the sake of it or anything like that. It's really to show us what we are doing wrong and where we can help our customers be happy and promote us as well, because that's the most important thing. All right, today, or what is, where do we live today, right? We live in a really hybrid cloud environment. There is a lot of on-prem cloud or enterprise cloud, as it's called, with your VMwares and Nutanix, Microsofts, and then your hybrid, and then your public clouds. And all of this together makes a really hybrid cloud. But at the end of the day, each of these platforms is very unique in its own way, in its own fashion, and should be utilized in the way it was designed to be utilized, right? And that's why when we were building data protection solution, which is what HYCU Protégé is all about, we really wanted to build a multi-cloud data protection solution, which combines all of these platforms and provides you with data protection. But at the same time, we didn't want to make a mistake, which was done many, many years over and over again in past, where there was a great solution, for instance, for on-prem, and then cloud was just built on top, or another platform was just built on top, and so on, building this massive solution, which is hard to maintain and complex to use. And we really wanted to take a different approach and really design a platform which is dedicated and for each of the platforms, right? For enterprise cloud, for public cloud. And by doing this, utilize the very power of this platform. And allow it, through Protégé, we allow data protection and migration and disaster recovery between these platforms. And that's the essence of Protégé. And while doing it, we maintain application awareness, application consistency, and provide ransomware protection, right? So this is what HYCU Protégé is all about. And this is our complete portfolio, which, again, as said, started with Nutanix, continued with VMware on-prem machines and physicals, and then also now with public clouds, Google, Azure. Amazon is here as well on the picture, it's coming, and Office as well, right? So all of this is what HYCU Protégé is about. How do we do it in HYCU Protégé? Well, this migration disaster recovery is really unique. So how do we do that is we have this functionality which is called spin up to cloud, which allows us a single click experience where you just are able to power on the machine, restore it and power it on into any public cloud. You continue protecting it there with our native data protection as a service in each of these clouds, right? And then you can bring it back with something called spin up from cloud. A lot of times data protection solutions or migration solutions will get you to cloud, but nobody thinks about back. And a lot of times customers need to travel back as well. Into some workloads make more sense running in the on-prem, right? And that's what Protégé is all about. So I'll be talking much more about this functionality in the coming sessions in the next days, or Wednesday and Friday. But today it's all about Office, right? So what's Office? I'm sure you're well aware what this Office 365 is. It's everything we love about Outlook and Exchange and Word and everything in hosted in a cloud as a service, right? And if you think about it, each of these is very unique, but built together around as an Office 365, right? Similar to what HYCU has, a native platform protection for each of the platforms, and then HYCU Protégé combining all of this together. So, all right, let's see how this looks like. If I show you really quick, I promise I won't make it all slides, right? It's going to be actually much more demos. So this is our HYCU Protégé console, where you can see that we are protecting our on-prem HYCUs, our Google Cloud, Azure, as well as our Office 365, right? And now I can see if I'm compliant, if my policies are all good, green, right? If my applications are protected, virtual machines, if my Office as well is good and right, how much of it is being protected. And then you can drill in and really go to each of these clouds, right? Same as you would go to Word or Outlook, you can go to your HYCU for Office 365 and protect it. So how does it look like? Let me show you this as well. So first of all, let's start with why Office 365 needs to be backed up in the first place. Well, the thing is, if you delete it, if there is any accidental, malicious deletions, you need to have protection, right? You need to have compliancy over a long period of times. And at the end of the day, Microsoft tells you, hey, we are really not backing up your data. You need to make sure that your data is backed up. Now, looking at all of this, I'm sure some of you might say, well, that's all good, but I have the litigation hold, which is a functionality of Microsoft and allows me to keep my data for infinite amount of time, right? Well, let me talk about why not litigation hold, and why not litigation hold is not really a backup, right? What is litigation hold doing? It is actually keeping your data indefinitely. So it is not creating a secondary copy of your data, which is the essence of a backup solution, right? Or a third copy and fourth and so on. So there is no secondary copy of data. So if ransomware hits and corrupts your data, it's gone. And just search YouTube and you'll see how easy it is to get infected with something like this. So it's really the essence of it is getting a secondary proper backup copy of your data. Another point is with litigation hold, it might be look, okay, I don't have to do a thing. I just enable this litigation hold. It costs me nothing on Microsoft. But when you need to recover something, it's slow, right? 10, 20, 30 minutes to actually recover a mailbox. And at the end of the day, you also face liability problems because, well, you now are keeping your complete portfolio, all your emails forever. So if somebody comes in to your company and needs to check this email in the case of a real hold situation, you need to give them the whole thing. They're exposed, all emails are exposed from everybody and accessible outside only the legal department, right? So you're really facing a lot of liability problems. And at the end of the day, how do you handle actual legal hold situation? So when you really need to process some kind of a legal hold situation for a finance or a person or something. So litigation hold really is not a backup, right? So just wanted to, we see this a lot of times with customers saying, well, I have this now enabled. Do I really need a backup, right? So this is the answer. Okay, so now let's actually dive into the solution and what do we do with HYCU. So we say there are 5 core values. If something you need to remember at the end, what we do is we really automate everything. We have complete portfolio protection for complete Office really flexible recovery, and at the end of the day, everything is compliant and secure, and with all the certificates and standards, right? So let's dive into all of these, each of these, and I'll show you, enough of slides. I'll really show you the product in action. Okay, so we were looking at HYCU for Office 365, and we considered it that yes, another cloud platform provided as a service to our customers by Microsoft, right? So again, we didn't want to take our on-prem solution and build it as such. Hey, we support now Office, pull an agent, or you'll back up into the on-prem world and so on. No, we said we want to really replicate this and again provide a data protection as a service, same as we do for Azure and Google, soon for Amazon. So this means that we provide our data protection for Office as a service. It means you just subscribe. There is no need for sizing. There is no need for scaling, upscaling, reconfiguring, anything, right? It's really simple. And it's even simpler with management. We'll do everything out of the box for you. Let me show you how that looks like. So you're here now in the HYCU Protégé for Office. You select the region in which you want to run your Office as a service, which will run for you, and you contact us and subscribe, right? Once you do this, you simply sign in after a couple of minutes, right? And you log in. So you can log in with single sign-on. You authenticate with Office 365 authentication, and so everything is really secure. You don't have to keep any of your passwords, and you log into HYCU for Office, right? Similar look and feel to all of our HYCU platforms, right? And for the only thing you need to do is add Office to backup. That's about it, right? So I've added here my demo HYCU server. So you see here, it's auto discovery is enabled, so everything is going to be automatically discovered and protected. But I can also, in case I don't want to do this, I can also handpick which actual accounts and mailboxes I want to protect. And you can also protect hosted Exchange as well as Gmails, and even perform restores between them as a way of migration, if you like, as well. Because you can restore a hosted Exchange mailbox, you can restore it into Office, or vice versa as well. So this is the essence of it, right? You just add backup and the magic happens. You add your platform. So what does happen? What is the magic that happens? So with HYCU, we will protect your complete portfolio. As soon as you add this, we'll protect everything: SharePoint, OneNote, OneDrive, Teams, Exchange, mails, everything, right? We will also continuously protect this, right? So there is nothing you need to specially do. We'll just out of the box protect all the emails because we know how important it is for our customers. And, for compliance reasons, you really need to keep all of this by default indefinitely, right? And then you can tweak this. And we'll do OneDrive and calendar tasks once a day backup, and SharePoint and Teams and chats we'll do 3 times a day. And that's it, right? It's very simple. No specific policies and no hassle with all of this at all, right? And we keep all the data with unlimited retention, and we back it up in the same Amazon service where we are running. So it's running in Amazon. It's separate to Microsoft. If anything goes wrong with Microsoft, right, you have your data in Amazon, and it's there in the S3 buckets. Okay, how does it look like? Again, as soon as you add, right, you'll see that we protect immediately all emails, OneDrives, chats. Everything is protected and kept unlimited from unlimited retention. Now, obviously, for liability reasons, you might want to say, look, for some specific account or for some specific department, right? You want to keep the data for less time, just so that you don't have to actually have to present this data should the legal situation occur, because you're not legally obliged to if you don't have it anymore, right? So what you have is also the capability to say, look, for some specific management mails or HR policies or something, I'm not allowed to keep data for longer. Then you can limit retention period to less time, right? Not forever, but a couple of years, 30 days, 6 months. So you have this granularity on the compliance. Okay, let's continue now. What is the next thing? So we did now backups automatically. Everything happened out of the blue, right? It's all done and good. You didn't have to do a lot except from adding the actual Exchange, right, and Office. So when it comes to recovery, really that's where the power comes from. So you'll see that with HYCU for Office, it's really simple and easy to restore. and it's very granular, right? So OneDrive, SharePoints, everything is really granularly covered. And on top of that, we have an amazing search functionality. And let me show you how that all looks like. Again, switching to our demo system. So let's look at this, right? So you have your emails, and what you'll see here that I can restore my mailbox wherever I like, into a new folder, default folder, right? Depending on the data availability, what you want. You can migrate it as well, and you can migrate it into a Gmail, another Office, into another email through IMAP. So wherever you like, that's perfectly doable as well. And you can download them as email at PST. But on top of that, you have the full granularity as well. So you can really drill in and select a specific folder or a specific mail, search, and then restore a single mail if you like as well, right? This goes same for OneDrive, contacts, calendar. So for OneDrive, I can dive in and see which files or folders I want to restore as well, or download them to the local computer, right? So this gives you full granularity on this. And again, emails are protected constantly, right? So if you lost an email, you deleted it 1 second after you received it, it's going to be protected because of this journaling, which we use automatically out of the box. On top of that, we support SharePoint, right? Again, full granularity or a complete site, which you can restore, right? You can restore a whole site, or you can restore granularly each of these SharePoint sites as well. And then on top of that, groups and teams, which is becoming more and more open question and pressing issues from the customers who are using Teams as kind of even aggregation and to keep the data and allow search between different teams and so on, which is actually where a lot of intelligence is kept. This is where you now also have full ability to recover teams as well, right? So if you see here one of my groups and teams chats, I can literally say I want to restore a chat or a site or a complete thing, all the files, everything, and restore it, right? Or I can drill in deeper here. I say, look, I just want this specific chat, and I can restore a Teams chat with all the members and everything. I restore it as a new chat, right? So I need to assign one of the owners, and that's it, right? You're able to restore a Teams chat as well, which is very important. Again, for instance, how we use it internally also is to keep a lot of Teams data. All the questions, all the Q&A answers is nicely searchable. So it's really important that you can actually restore data should it be lost. So groups and teams, granular recovery as well possible on file level, as well as on, or you can download it as well, right? And on top of all of that, you have, very much granular approach to all of this. You have really advanced search capabilities. Now, search in Office 365 is a pain, right? Because it takes a lot of time, even days sometimes, to get a response back from a query. Now, what's interesting about HYCU, all the data is immediately indexed as part of, immediately out of the backup. So if you want to search something and say, mine with HYCU, for instance, right? You're going to get an instant search capability, right? All of the things are instantly shown. And not only that, we index the emails and subjects and so on. We'll actually index all the files as well on OneDrive, on SharePoint, right? Up to a certain 10 megabyte limit or something, right? So all of this is indexed already in in HYCU, and you can search through the files as well, which is really, really powerful solution. Right. So how do we use this search even more? So what's interesting about HYCU is our compliancy section, right? You'll see a lot of, maybe a number of these solutions might have or not have some of these or similar features, but where HYCU really excels, again, is with compliance automation. So how to handle legal hold situation, GDPR request, leak prevention, and so on. So let me show you how we tackle these problems, right? So again, search capability, really strong. What's interesting about it is you can use it as basis for something we call e-discovery, true e-discovery, which means you can, create your own searches and save them. And you can see here I have a bunch of saved searches. For instance, this confidentiality breach search actually checks if somebody is sending constantly emails to Gmail account or some Outlook account with contracts, words and attachments and everything. And what can happen is I can get alerts on that, right? I can say, look, if there is anything happen with this kind of strings attached to it, and search search queries, then I can be alerted and take action on it, right? Confidentiality breaches. Another part is, let's say Peter Grant, right, requests from me that all of his emails from last year by GDPR need to be removed from the system. Now, this is obviously, you can imagine a big pain in the system, how to handle these things. So what you can do in HYCU is you have review process and special types of accounts, right? Let me see a quick chat. For search capability, do you offer, okay, so there is a question. For search capability, do you offer granular permissions so that IT admins can't read the content of emails files? Thanks. So we do have special, and I'm actually now switching to these permissions, which I can show you. So there is a number of permissions which we can set in HYCU in our user management section. And these are really interesting, right? So what you have is IT admin as such can't read the content, exactly as was the question, but can do the restores, right? And then you have full admin and group admins, which can actually perform, which can actually view things. But I'll mention it later, everything is fully audited as well. So there is nothing, no view or no search that can go unchecked or unseen from the system, right? Which is something more than you get in today's world with Exchange on-prem, where everybody can actually, all the admins can actually look at any email they like without anybody knowing about it, right? So at least here, even if somebody looks, you will know that they looked if you check, right? But yes, there is this role. But going back, so I hope this answers the question, but going back now to the GDPR request, what you can have is a data protection officer, right? This data protection officer is the only role which has the ability to delete mail, right? And then you can create a really simple review process and say, look, everything from Peter Grant, create a review process for it. And then as you can see here, all of the Peter Grant's reviews, all of the emails are here marked. Some are for legal hold, some are for deletion. Then the legal hold or the data protection officer can come in and check this and delete should it be needed. Right. And in a similar fashion, the legal hold is really interesting because that's the biggest pain, right? Let's say a complete finance department, everything needs to be put on legal hold. First thing you need to do is you create a legal hold situation where, right, everything from finance or from some specific email from Bella, right, or anybody else needs to be put in legal hold. This means that even if you have a shorter retention, the system is going to mark them for legal hold, and it means it will never delete these mails from the backup systems, right? And then what you can do is really nice, that because HYCU with compliance offers this complete review process where you can say, again, in the review process, you can say, look, everything from finance, create a review and deletion system, right, for data protection. And then this guy can come in and again, under finance, he can review these mails, mark them as reviewed, check them, delete them, and so on. At the end of the day, complete the review, legal hold review process. So you can really follow this closely as part of the compliance, right? So that's the essence of it, right? It really brings simplicity to something which is extremely hard to manage, like GDPR requests and legal hold situations. All right. Apart from that, we also have self-service, right? At the end of the day, it's really simple to use it. You see how easy it is. Why not expose it to the end customer as well, to the end user? If they need to select and delete or restore, not delete, but restore their own email, right? Why not allow it to them? You can do this very easily through user management again, where you can say any specific user can have just user read-only or user role. So user read-only means he can just restore mailboxes or restore his own mails and search for them. User means he can only also migrate, for instance, right? But user read-only is more than enough for him to log in, check his mail, and restore, right? And another thing which is interesting about legal hold situations, which was, I just want to mention this as well. If you have a compliance and review officer or data protection officer, this is usually a more than often external person, right? So a pain in these situations is, in a classic situation, you need to create an actual user account for them. And once they log in, they will see all the mails, right? With HYCU's legal hold operation, they can be an external user, right? So not in the company, you just add them here with their own email, whatever it is. They log in and then they will see only the mails which are marked for legal hold for them, right? Nothing else. So there is no liability or danger and risk of data leaks, in a sense, right? So another interesting point here. And at the end of the day, again, as I mentioned, everything is fully auditable. Emails, backups, searches, everything, right? So first of all, you can see how the systems are doing, how the backups are doing, restores, if everything is okay. But also from compliance perspective, you can go here to audit log, and you can say, look, everything that Bella Gibson was doing last year, check it out, right? So if you have an IT admin who's handling mails, you can, even if they look at something, you will be able to say, hey, why were you looking at this? What's happening and so on. So you can check this as well, right? So everything from activity log, system activity log, messaging, everything is fully audited. And through this, one question coming in, is there a limit to number of users? Okay, let me read the question. Is there a limit to the number of users allowed to restore mails, or can I give every user read-only rights? You can, there is no limit to whoever you like. So it's just one role which you have in your system which you can allow, right? Thanks for the question, Liam. Okay, and you really, through all of this and us being a service, you really want to stay secure. So what's important to note is everything is really encrypted in transit at in rest. We have an amazing amount of certification and compliance from target perspective and solution, from HIPAA, GDPRs, Privacy Acts, FedRAMPs, you name it, it's there. If it's not, tell us, right? So you can feel secure that everything is really by the book and done the way it should be as part of our service. There's another question. Can you create automated reports on audit logs? I am not sure. We do have some APIs which we can look into if this is something. Not by out of the box from UI, you could not do this, right? That you have automated reports. There is another question, how do you manage multiple Office 365 domains? So you can literally add multiple Office accounts into HYCU as well, right? So when you add this, you can add to backup multiple new Office 365 accounts as well. So that is not a problem. And for service provider, we do offer some more capabilities as well to kind of distinguish between them. All right. So at the end of the day, why HYCU Protégé? Really, if I summarize all of these 5 points, it's one: simplicity, right? It really doesn't get any simpler than this. You just have it as a proper service. There is nothing you need to manage, maintain, think about storage, think about upgrades of storage, think about how to protect the data protection solution, because if it's running in the on-prem world, you still need to protect it, right? So all of this comes upgrades, right? All of these things, come very natively as part of the service, right? We protect holistically the whole environment. I showed you how easy it is to recover, search through it. From compliancy perspective, I hope I've shown you the legal hold situations and how to handle this and how to simplify your lives. And everything is kept very much secure throughout this process. All right. Time to pick our winner, and then we'll have some time for Q&A as well, or just shoot questions same as now. All right, there's a couple of more questions while Katarina actually chooses out of the hat one of the lucky winners. When are you planning to upgrade TLS since you are still using 1.2? Oh, that's a good question, Ron. Let me check this with engineering and we'll get back to you on this one. That's a very good one. So you've managed to find something in the secure. That's perfect. What targets are used by HYCU? There's a question. Yeah, Miranda, thanks. Definitely we'll check this and get back to you. What targets are used by HYCU? We use AWS targets, right? So in this case, it's not in your buckets. It's actually provided as a part of our service, right? So we make sure that all data is kept intact. And it's part of our service. Does any egress, one thing to note of that also is obviously data is kept in the region where you're running your HYCU as a service. So you can select one of the regions across the world, right? From London, Germany, from Australia and so on. Are you looking at other cloud targets in the future? That's something that is being looked at. We get these questions from time to time also, and even in our cloud solution, HYCU for Azure, HYCU for Google as well. So we'll see how it pans out, but yes, definitely we are looking at this. We realize more and more. There's another question. Does any egress fees apply? No, there is no egress cost associated with any of these Office offerings, because at the end of the day, Microsoft actually doesn't charge you for getting the data out for backups. So there's a question, some SaaS providers provide limited restore capabilities, but when you do bulk restores, additional fees come into play. There is no such additional fees, so there is no additional regress, there is no additional cost except for the main cost, which is per seat pricing of HYCU, right? And that's it. Okay, there is Katarina actually pulled out the winner, Leon Wilson. Congratulations, you are the winner for today. By random selection, we will be reaching out to you via email. So congrats. There's another question coming in. How the backup store if my customer across the globe? So it's a great question actually. So it depends. Usually is it one global Office 365 account, or is it that you have multiple Office 365 subscriptions, right? So if it's multiple, then we can have them granular in each of the regions. If it's one across the globe, then it's going to go into one data center of your choice. But would love to know more about this, Kati. If maybe we can catch up later. Would love to know more about the actual use case of yours. All right. While waiting for the other questions, let me just mention again, congrats to Leon. And if you'd like to know more on what we do for other platforms, we'll have a session on HYCU for GCP, an amazing solution. I'll be happy to share with you all the details on Wednesday. It's really a great product. And on Friday, again, a great goodie with Nutanix Mine and HYCU news and what's happening with V3 options with Nutanix objects. So thanks for joining. And if there's no other questions, I hope you had a great session. Enjoyed your coffee and you're happy that you purchased. Thank you. Wow, so we have a customer already. Thank you, everybody. Bye.